everybody, my name is Ronan, and today I'll be going over my Gank PvP video for Open World Cyrodiil, as well as Battlegrounds. So, I guess the first things I'm going to go over is the gear that I am wearing. I got a Spriggans on my my main bar. It's Nirnholm for additional damage. Got double dot poisons on it. This set's really great because it adds a lot of stamina, a little bit of weapon damage, and a bunch of physical penetration, which helps us fight off the tankier enemies. Here's a double dot poison right here, and my back bar. I've got the Asylum Greatsword on here. I don't use, it at all. I have defending on it. It's just a one-piece set. I'll probably put the Master's Battle Axe or Master's Greatsword on the in place of this when Greymoor comes out, because that's going to be really good for bombing situations. You have a healer pop a negate or a Sork pop a negate. You got a bunch of proximity mag blades go in there, and you have a bunch of stand blades go in there, swing and cleave, and it's just going to do dumb amounts of damage. It's just a cool little thing to have on your back bar. I got a Gruntwolf one piece for the bonus crits. And I've got the Moloch Kenna for the bonus weapon damage. All my gear is Divines. Other than Spriggans, I've got Swamp Raiders Jack. It's a really fun set. You have weapon crit in there, you got weapon damage in there, you got bonus stam. And then the beauty of it is it adds 400 physical weapon damage to any poison and disease damage abilities. This includes your lethal arrow, this includes your poison inject. I do not know off the top of my head if it actually counts the ticks as well. That's something I could look into, but it does definitely count towards the initial hits. I've got one Bloodthirsty with a weapon damage enchant, and then I've got 2 infused for even more weapon damage. For my skills on my front bar, for my hide, obviously all Nightblades need a shadowy disguise in order to disappear. It'll also increase your direct damage attack used within 3 seconds, which will probably be your lethal arrow, to always be a critical strike, which is a beautiful thing. Camouflage Hunter is really good for both the passive and the main part. So the passive, which will be just taking advantage most of the time, you gain Major Savagery, just having it on, which increases your critical rating, which makes your crits hit even harder. You gain Minor Berserk for 5 seconds after you deal critical damage, which you will do after your Shade Away. When you hit from an enemy's flank, which will increase your damage done by 8% for 5 seconds, and that will stack. I got Reaper's Mark on here. Oh, to go back on here, I forgot to go over the active part. It's really good to have this on your front bar so that if you're trying to hit another Nightblade or someone who's trying to go into stealth, you can just pop this really quick so they can't go away. And they just wasted that magicka, and they'll keep on trying to use their magic for a little bit to get into stealth, and they'll just waste it because you've got this thing on for 3 seconds, so allow you to hopefully finish off your combo. Reaper's Mark obviously will reduce their physical and spell resistance, which is a beautiful thing. And if the marked enemy dies, you heal for a lot, and you get Major Berserk, which will increase your damage done by 25% for 5 seconds. This will stack with everything else, and it'll make follow-up shots against other enemies, such as a Rezer, for instance, really useful. Lethal Arrow is my main spammable. It hits just a base non-crit damage for 13,590 poison damage, plus 400, so this will be about 14 because of my Swamp Raider. And it'll also give them Minor Defile, which makes their healing abilities do less healing, and their health recovery will be decreased as well. And this gets applied each time they get hit by one. So they're going to be trying to spam their heals, their vigors, and it'll be healing less than it should. And their health recovery itself will be decreased a lot as well. My final skill on here is Poison Inject. This is my execute. Does a 5k poison damage, an additional 8410 poison damage over 10 seconds. Deals up to 100% more damage to enemies under 50% health, and since I always use this after my 2 lethal arrows, this is going to hit them for at least 60% more damage. I'll go back over here really quick so you can see the difference. So this is unbuffed, obviously. Let me stealth up. Let me buff up. Let's take a look now. 15,397 poison damage, and then 5687, and then 9530 poison damage over 10 seconds. So that's, and if you include that on an execute, is going to hit like a truck. Then I've got Toxic Barrage. This is my ulti. It does 85k poison damage over 4 seconds, plus almost 37k poison damage over 8 seconds. The beautiful thing about it is while you're launching this out, it you're immune to any knockbacks, any snares, any streak, everything. Won't really affect you at all. And that kind of makes up for the downside of you can't cast any other abilities, obviously. That being said, you should only cast this, and this is my opinion, only use this ability as a cleanup if your 2 lethals and your poison inject didn't do the trick and they're trying to get away from you. Because that poison inject tick, plus that lethal arrow minor defile, plus just the upfront poison damage, and keep in mind that this still includes my swap raider. They're going to be popping oh shit heals and trying to save themselves, and if they're already at 20% health, they're not gonna survive. There's no way. If you cast this before, like, I think 45% would be the most I'd try to go for it, but I recommend between 30 to 25%. You'll have the best bet. Another reason I have Camouflage Hunter on here is because of the Fighters Guild passive, which gives me plus 3% on weapon damage on this bar. Also, another passive just for having this on. My back bar, I've got Reaper's Mark again for that weapon damage for when I get the Battle Axe on here. Resolving Vigor's my oh shit heal. I got Concealed Weapon. Mainly, the only reason I really have this on here is just for the movement speed. So if I'm not being, chased or something, I'll switch to my sword bar, and it'll allow me to flank really quickly. My movement speed, since I'm a vampire as well, if I'm crouched, so like this is me running just like a normal person. If I'm hidden, I'm running this fast and I'm in stealth the whole entire time. No one sees me. So my ability to flank and get behind an enemy is so much faster. I never use the actual damage of this. Momentum is my buff. Increases my weapon damage by 20% and increases my stamina recovery for 20 seconds. And then I've got Relentless Focus, which I will be swapping out with Cleave when I get a Master's Battle Axe on here for the Greymoor. But I don't really use this a whole lot. It's just kind of a flex spot. What am I missing? You probably want to see my CP. So my CP, I got Warlord so I can break free as fast as I can. A little bit in Sprint so that I can move even faster. You always want to have 1 point in Siphoner, just so that you can decrease a little bit of resource. I've got 64 Mooncalf for stamina recovery. I've got I want Magicka recovery as well for my sneak. A little bit of health recovery through healthy. I want to be able to roll dodge all over the place as much as I need to, so I got tumbling all the way up to 72. And I got Shadow Ward at 11, so that I can block if I need to. Chances are, if you're close enough to somebody that you need to block, you're bow ganking wrong. So this is more like an oh shit block, but you shouldn't have to need to block a whole lot. I got 66 in Master at Arms to increase my damage done with direct damage, which is my lethal arrow, my poison inject by 22%. I got a bunch of precise strikes for crit, increasing my crit damage. My physical penetration's at 5,000 with 77, and then my physical poison disease damage increased by 14%. In case you're wondering why I didn't put any more damage into my Thaumaturge for the an increased amount of damage from the dots. So the dots is more of a quick cleanup, like if they're low enough. As a bow gank, you're definitely going to want to be focusing more on just upfront burst over damage over time. My damage over time is just, it's icing on the cake. If they're trying to get away on their mount and they've got, 4% health after my all my hits, and that poison's going to clean it up without the need for thaumaturge. You're obviously going to want 72 in Ironclad to reduce damage taken by direct damage, and you want your critical resistance at least a 48. I got some points into Thick Skin to reduce damage taken from damage over time. I got Hardy for damage reduction of physical poison disease, and then 49 Elemental Defender for flame, frost, shock, and magic damage. And then in addition, I've only got 19 in Expert Defender to protect myself against any light and heavy attacks. This is more mainly for like force pulse spammables and stuff like that. And then quick recovery for healing received for my vigor. Buffed up, in stealth, bar swapped. I'm hitting for, I got 38, 73 weapon damage and 54% crit. I've got the lever on for even more penetration, and I'm stage 4 vampire, so I could run as fast as I can. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.